These guitars were recorded directly into an interface at home. And in this video, I will show you how. So carrying on from the previous video in this Pro Records from Home series, where I showed how I get this guitar tone using only amp sims, in this video, I want to show how I actually track the guitars, which is a hugely important part of getting a great tone with amp sims. And just quickly, I want to mention that if you make pop, punk, emo, or other similar music, and you want me to mix your next release, then please head over to my website, terrybeckleyrecording.com, and send me a message via the contact form there. I promise I will get back to you. So in the description, I'll link to video 1 where I go through the actual tone and how I got it using just amp sims. But in this video, I want to show you my tracking strategy, which makes sure that you get pro quality guitar takes, which will vastly improve your guitar tones, especially with amp sims. Okay, so this is my tracking strategy to get pro level guitars from home. And just like in the first video, I am recording directly into an audio interface, no fancy DI boxes or anything like that. So first things first, before we do anything, tuning. You have to be in perfect tune. And I think as you record, you need to be checking the tuning regularly. Let's have a quick look, see where we're at. Yes, so there we go. Pretty good tuning. And I am using an Evertune, which obviously will help. I'm not saying you need to buy an Evertune to get pro level guitars, but it helps because you can really smash the notes and it doesn't cause anything to happen with the pitch. Okay, so I'm going to talk you through my strategy for tracking and things I think we should be doing every single take. So as you can see here, I've got my guitar recording track, and then I've got a left and right track, which is where I'm going to put my takes that I'm happy with. So I'm going to get this first part of the riff here before we do any palm muting. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to play it as hard as I can. I'm going to run it a few times through to get the best take. And at the end of each bit, I'm going to leave the note, the last note ringing. There's a very important reason for that, which I'll get into shortly. Okay, let's listen to these. Sounds good. I think I prefer take 3. That one's not bad, I just don't like this note here. I feel like it loses a bit of power. Check 3 again. Yeah, I think that sounds pretty clean. Okay, so what I'll do here is I'll zoom in to where the pick actually first hits the strings, which is this bit here. So you can see the shape of it, how it goes. That's the pick attack there, and then when it starts to get big, the waveform, that's obviously when the note actually starts to ring out. So we'll cut it where the pick hits the string, and then we'll move it forwards, so that it is bang in time with the bar. So I'm lining up there with the beginning of the second bar. So as I said earlier, I left that note ringing out at the end, and see how we had to move that forwards. That note at the end has allowed me to cut it bang on the third bar, which is where I'll put the next take. So therefore, there's no gap in between it. You can't hear that it's edited. That is a great tip, and something that I had to figure out along the way is to leave that last note of your take ringing, unless there's a dead stop, obviously. But if you're going to just be playing into the next part, leave that note ringing, and then you can cut it right where you need it to be. So let's pop that down. Let's pop that down onto guitar right here. Then we will get the left side now, the double track. So same again. Okay, let's have a listen back. So you'll notice I'm checking the DI to make sure it is clean and has good pick attack. I'm quite happy with that one. Let's see what else we got. I think I prefer take 5 to that. Obviously, I want it to be in time with the groove of the song, but I don't want to hear any extra strings getting hit or any tuning issues or any sort of dead notes. I want to hear everything clean, everything really strongly hit. I think that's going to be take 5. Okay, so same as before, we're going to zoom in, cut it where the pick first hits the string, then move it so that it starts at the beginning of the bar. And that's because we held the note at the end, we can cut it right at the beginning of bar 3, then stick that on the left side there with the double track. So what we'll do now is we'll listen to them together, make sure that they're in tune with each other and in tune with the bass. Sounds good from as far as the bass is concerned. Let's hear the two of them together. Yeah, so that sounds so clean, so tight. The pick attack is there. That's how you're going to get good guitar tones. And that's how you're going to get amp sims to sound great. To make sure that you have high standards when you record your guitar takes. When you go to a studio, that's what the engineer will do. They will only accept the best to go on the recording. So, as you can see, this is quite painstaking. Guitars are painstaking. So that's the first part. Now we want to get the next bit. Now this is the bit with the palm mutes. So I'll treat this a little differently. I want to make sure the palm mutes sound great. So the actual riff goes like this. It has 3 palm notes, 3 palm muted notes, and then 3 open or 3 normal fretted notes. So like this. So what I'll do, I'll get the palm muted ones first. And the reason for that is I want to shift my right hand around until I get the best position for the palm to sit. So I get the thickest, best sounding palm mute. Okay, let's see where the best palm position is. Okay, about there. So I won't move my right arm. I'll move my left to press record. Okay, I think we've got some decent sounding ones there. Let's have a listen. Yeah, quite like that. That one was very tight. That one didn't have as much tail as take 4. I think I prefer that. That one could be cut shorter. I think I like take 3. So as to not waste the other takes here, I'm just going to export active take to new track, and then we'll work on this one. So like before, I'm going to zoom in, grab that pick attack. A little harder to see with palm mutes, as you can tell here. Probably does start there, but you could cut it here because you're still going to get a decent pick attack there, and that would lead it to be more, you would have to shift it around less, so it should be more in time with the backing track. We'll try that and we'll see how it sounds. Now on second thought, I think we should have it there. I think we want that most out of that pick attack. So I'll move it back to the start of bar 3. Now here, we're not going to the end of the bar, of course. We're going to there where the next note's going to start. Let's hear this right side, just make sure it gels together. Actually, I think there's a bit of a jump. We did leave the pick attack too long, so I am actually going to cut it here and move it forward. And don't forget here, we want to cut it so it fills the whole bar. Have another listen. Yeah, see, that's smooth. That sounds like one take. The other one, there was a slight gap and it made it sound like it had been edited. Which obviously we are doing, but we don't want people to know that. We just don't mention it. Okay, so we could see if any of the other takes would actually work. And we wouldn't have to, as we recorded a few, we don't have to record them again, but let's see. What do we have? Take 1, I think, wasn't too bad. Let's hear that one again. Quite like that. Let's try it. Okay, so zoom in like before. And this one's quite tricky to see where to cut. We want it to be pretty much in the same position as this take here that we did earlier. So I'm going to cut it at this bit, which I think looks like the pick hitting the string strongest there. Move it back to the beginning of the bar. See how they line up. So that's going to be a little bit out of phase. I think what I will do is just bring this back slightly to have these in phase. Now this is going extra. This is extra. You don't have to do this kind of thing. You know, the guitars are going to be separated left and right, really far away, and the low end's going to be trimmed back, or the sub under 80 hertz. So it's not that important. But with palm mutes, there's quite a lot of low end information there. I think it might sound better if we pay attention to the phase between the two takes. Okay, let's hear them both together. Yeah, I think that sounds quite good with the whole track. Yeah, I'm happy with that. Okay, so I won't bore you by making you watch the rest of this, but you sort of get the idea. I'll do a Blue Peter, here's one I prepared earlier, video edit. Ta-da, the whole song's recorded. Okay, so this is actually the one I recorded before, using the exact same method that I just wanted to show you then. The most important parts are cutting the takes just after you record them to make sure that the pick attack starts at the beginning of the bar. Leave that last note ringing so you can cut it at the right point, and then check your DIs to make sure that they're in tune and to make sure that there's no extra strings ringing out or any extra noises and stuff. And something that's really important is to make sure that it is in tune with the bass and that the bass is bang in tune. So whether you record live bass or not, I like to record my guitars to MIDI bass because I know that MIDI bass is going to be perfectly in tune, and then I can use it as a tuning reference. So that's why here I've used this Punk bass from Submission Audio. And then I can always check my DIs, take the amp sim off and check the DI and make sure that it's in tune up and down the neck. So in this first bit, I go up to the 9th fret and I want to make sure that that up there is still in tune so the guitar's properly intonated. And there's a couple more little bits I just want to share. With high gain guitars, you want to do everything you can to make sure you can play as hard as you can and mitigate all those extra accidental things that might happen. So as I'm going to show you now, is a picture of what I do to the guitar. You can see at the neck, I have the nut muted. Although it doesn't sound like, or you don't think that does anything, with the high gain, if you're cutting notes short and dead or palm muting, that can ring out. It's so low level, through an amp sim especially, and all the high gain, it starts to make the guitar take messy, and all those bits go into your tone that you don't want that. And as you can see here, I've actually taped down the strings because it's a rhythm part. I've taped down the strings I'm not using. So because that G string, that can ring out, you don't expect it to. Every now and then you can just sort of nip it, and that will add into your guitar tone and make it sound messy, and you'll lose the punch and the clarity that you need to have pro sounding guitars. There's no reason why pro sounding guitars can't come from just an interface in your bedroom. It's just your high standards and your attention to detail that are going to matter, and then doing those things to make sure you can really dig out the notes with your right hand so you can get good pick attack. Now, of course, some guitars are better than others. I'm using an LTD, which actually, the springs in the back of the guitar have this coating on them that stops them from ringing out and vibrating. Because even some guitars, those springs in the back of it can ring out and again add unwanted low-level noise, which comes out in high-gain guitars. So some people stuff like foam in there and that just to stop them from happening. And what I would have done every time I did a few takes, I would be rechecking my tuning, make sure that it hasn't gone out of tune, and then retune it if I had to. But again, the tuning reference will help you with that because it should show you, as long as you're checking your DIs, you should be able to hear when it starts to, the tuning starts to become inconsistent. Okay, so the last thing I want to show you is what would this sound like if I didn't do it in bits, if I just recorded it as is, and I didn't tape down my strings, and then we'll compare the two and we'll see which one sounds better. Okay, so I didn't spend too long on it. I tried to do it as best I could without it being too sloppy. But I just want to show you, I'll play you the one I've done all in one go. Then I'll play the one I've done in parts, making sure everything was clean and with all the rules we just went through. So you can be the judge to see just how much better the guitar tones and the guitars sound when you do the approach that I try to do every time. So this is recording it all in one go. And then this is it with insane attention to detail. That's obvious, right? I haven't tried to make those other takes worse to prove my point. I know that they're a little sloppy. I didn't want to spend too much time doing it, but I did re-record them and try and get the best takes. Let's listen to them again. I know the palm mutes could be a little tighter with each other, but you'll also find the whole feel of the song different. Everything is just so much clearer and better when you use the methodical approach that I like to use. That almost sounds rushed, I think. I think it's really lost the groove of the song. Now let's hear the methodical takes again. It just sounds so much cleaner. The tone sounds better, and I promise you, the tone is identical. It is just the default 5150, and look, it's identical. It just sounds so much cleaner. The palm mutes in particular. Listen to these palm mutes. And I know that these ones are a little bit out of time with each other, but just listen to the tone of them and how much different it sounds. It just loses its impact. So you don't have to follow my advice. I just think that you can record great guitars from home. Just make sure that your standards are as high as they would be if you went to a studio. Okay, thank you very much for watching. Of course, there's an argument for the feel of a song and recording the whole take. But I think with music like this, you want punch, you want accuracy, you want tightness, you want clear sounding distorted guitars. So for me, employing the methods that I showed gets me high quality, professional sounding guitar takes, which in turn gives you professional sounding guitar tones, even if they're recorded like these were, straight into a DI and just an amp sim. And remember, if you make music like this and you want me to mix your next song, head over to terrybeckleyrecording.com, hit me up in the contact form. I will get back to you. Thank you very much for watching. This has been video 2 of this recording Pro Records from Home series. Subscribe if you want to see the rest of them. I'll be releasing them as often as I can. Thank you very much. See you at the next one.